Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Daily Fix. I am your usual host and presenter, Advocate Tulo Hoyane. April the 14th is only a week away. That will be a big day. This is the day that I've been telling you about, on which day I will be outside the Pretoria High Court with those of you who might be interested. I am not expecting millions of people outside the Pretoria High Court. And I'm probably not even expecting thousands of people outside the Pretoria High Court. I am saying this because the interest in the T-shirt project was very, very low. You'll recall that I launched a T-shirt project to try and promote that event to make it more visible. And I said that I would be printing T-shirts, which, if you're interested in buying them, you can always get in touch with me. But that T-shirt project simply collapsed. It never worked. So on the 14th of April, I will be there. I will also conduct possibly interviews with the mainstream media. I've mentioned ENCA, I've mentioned the SABC, I think Newsroom Africa also. I'll be outside the Pretoria High Court at about 11 o'clock. The reason for that is to, make sure that the cause of justice for Senzo Meyiwa remains on the radar, that people don't forget about it. It is intended to mobilize people to say to the authorities that there are certain issues which are very disturbing in and around the Senzo Meyiwa investigation. And we will be bringing to the attention of the authorities some of these issues. Some of you have been questioning what that will achieve. I am not intending in any way, or I am not hoping that this will bring a stop to the Senzo Meyiwa trial. That would be wishful thinking. There is no way that a demonstration can have the impact of stopping that trial from going ahead. But it is simply a gesture of solidarity with the Meyiwa family, to say to the Meyiwa family, you are not alone in this. So that perhaps gives the answer to those who have been saying, what will it achieve? So those of you who are in and around the Pretoria area, who will be able to make it on that particular day, I humbly urge you to be at the Pretoria High Court at about 11 o'clock in the morning on April the 14th. Now, let me briefly get into some of the issues that I'll be addressing on that day. The first issue that I'll be dealing with is the existence of two dockets. I think that is where the trouble really began with the Senzo Meyiwa trial. I'll be addressing the issue of the two dockets to say, why in the first place do we have two dockets, disclosing two different sets of offenders in respect of one investigation into one murder. That is the basic focus of that address on that day, because that is exactly where everything started to go wrong. You'll recall that once the investigators disagreed and Guinindez has told the court about this. Once there was disagreement among the investigators, there were those who took the view that there were intruders into that house, and others took quite a different view that there had been no intruders into that house. And it would appear that shortly thereafter, there was a lot of acrimony. You see, we had two sets of police investigators operating out of the Vosloorus police station who simply did not see eye to eye. That is why we had docket 636, the intruder docket, hanging in the air somewhere for a period of 5 years until docket 375 was opened in 2019 by Warrant Officer Makubu. Now, there have been a lot of reports about, threats of various forms, taking various forms against the people who are behind the narrative of 375. That is an issue that I will also address. That to say, is it purely coincidental that we are seeing so many people under threat, and in certain instances we have seen other people simply just perish out of this world? But the demonstration will be a lawful event. Let me make it very clear. That demonstration is being undertaken in terms of the Constitution of South Africa. The Constitution of South Africa, among other things, allows for freedom of association. In other words, an individual is free to associate with whoever they want to associate with. The Constitution of South Africa also guarantees freedom of speech. And that is the most important right that we'll be exercising on that day. Our right to freedom of speech, our right to point out the things that we think are not going right in that courtroom. Other people, of course, will take a different point of view. I am not saying that mine is the only point of view out there. People have got their own points of views. People have got, different ways in which they see developments in the Pretoria Act. Well, of course, there are people who believe in the intruder theory, and I respect them for their views. But I, for one, do not believe in the intruder theory, and I'm entitled to my beliefs. So this is a free country. This is a democracy. Everybody is entitled to hold whatever views that they hold and to express them in an orderly fashion, in a lawful manner. The whole thing will be within the four corners of the law. Now, having said that, let me make one or two comments about viewers, especially people who comment on this channel. I welcome comments, and I'm getting a lot of comments on a daily basis. And I think this gives me an insight. These comments give me an insight into what people think about the Daily Fix. They also give me an insight into how I'm performing as the person behind the Daily Fix. And I commend such people. But there are other comments, and I'm not talking about them because they have any impact whatsoever on me. There are other comments which are outright insulting and vulgar. When I started experiencing a lot of these sort of comments, I said to myself, maybe I should block all comments. But then something in me told me that would be unfair to those people who are making genuine comments, who have good intentions behind their comments, to try and make things better for everyone. So for that reason, I'm not going to shut down those comments. But let me assure you that anybody who comes onto the channel simply to come and abuse me will simply have that comment removed. Because I've got no time for people who have got no better use of their time than to wake up every day and string together a few words to make their insults as vulgar as they possibly can be. I've got no time for people like that. They don't change anything about the daily fix, but I'll simply remove them because they don't belong there. Now, having said that, I hope all of you keep on watching and viewing the daily fix. Your support has been incredible on this journey, and it is only through that support that I have made it to where I am today. So having said that, let me thank you once more. Please share and like these videos. Don't skip those ads, and have a beautiful Sunday.